Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we completed our contract to transfer crew from one vessel to another in orbit of Kerbin. So we just need to bring these guys on home at this point. I say these guys, it's just Jeb. So we need to bring Jeb home and we need to deorbit our other craft, so that should be absolutely fine. Also, our fuel production module is not very far away. If we set that as a target, we can see that that is right up over there, about 80 kilometers away. It is getting further, which is not terribly surprising. But let's go ahead and I think we should do a deorbit burn right now. We're over water, so that looks solid. We've got lots and lots of fuel right now, so we're just going to slow this right on down to be somewhere around here or so. That looks good. So now we'll take this to surface velocity minus, and we're going to lose these photovoltaic panels when we enter the atmosphere. That's absolutely fine. We knew that that was likely going to be the case. I'm going to move this right on up for now. Actually, let's just move this up to here. Okay, there we go. Staging looks much better now. And let's just warp on forward, and then we're going to start up a surface velocity minus burn as soon as we hit the atmosphere and reorient. So we're reorienting right now. We are in the atmosphere, and these solar panels, they're going to go away very quickly. That's absolutely fine. So just making our way over to surface velocity minus. Once we're in position here, we can begin our re-entry burn. And it's probably best to just start the burn right now. So let's do so. What's our thrust to weight here? 1.65? Wow. Okay. So we can slow down tremendously. Not that we need to. So this heat shield that's here is almost certainly irrelevant because of the amount of fuel that we have. That's absolutely fine. And let's just bring this right on down. So we can see that our horizontal velocity is going away. Shockingly, we haven't lost those solar panels yet. We're going very slowly right now. Very slowly indeed. We've still got a little bit of fuel left, and I'm thinking that we're going to try to keep this around. I'm noticing that I forgot to put a decoupler here. That's a little awkward, but it's fine. We can use all this fuel, and we should be able to land this as is. Honestly, at this point, I suspect that we are going to be in a position where we can even do a land landing on this. We might even be able to retain these photovoltaic panels. You can see here, we're slowing down even without burning this last little bit of fuel. So that looks good. No issue there right now. You can see that our amount of delta V is decreasing. That is, of course, due to the increasing atmospheric pressure. No shockers there. But we're already going very slow, so no problem. I like it. I'm going to physics warp us a little bit. Okay, there goes the photovoltaic panels. I'm not surprised about that. I'm shocked they survived as long as they did. So at this point, we're under 10 kilometers up. Let's go ahead and get our throat chutes out and our main chute. And let's bring this thing right on down. We've still got a little bit of fuel left if we want to cushion our landing, but I don't think we need to. We're going to be fine. We're going to be absolutely fine. 19 meters per second without having the main chute deployed? Yeah, it's okay. So we'll continue to physics warp our way on down, and we'll get Jeb recovered. We do need to bring the other capsule down as well. So we'll get that one completed, and then hopefully our contracts will start sending us out towards Duna. That would be awfully nice. We'll see if that happens, though. We are currently about 400 meters up, and it's just going to take a moment to gently waft on down to the surface. Fantastic. What's our thrust to weight here at sea level? Yeah, 0.65. That's more like it. Okay, so I'm going to cushion this a little bit. It's not necessary, but there we go. Little bit of a cushioned landing. Again, deeply, deeply unnecessary, but I still wanted to do it. Mostly because it was cool. So that's fine. We'll get Jeb recovered, and that's the more important of the two capsules. The other capsule is unmanned. So that'll be absolutely fine. And we probably aren't going to care whether it comes down in land or water. It'll be fine either way. Any moment now, we'll get loaded back in. There we go. No science earned. That's not surprising in the slightest. So let's hop into the tracking station. I already cleared off all of the debris in the pre-episode times, so that is fine. And at this point, we'll get this last capsule brought right on in. So I'll take this also over to surface velocity minus. So surface velocity minus. There we go. And where are we? Okay. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Let's just go ahead and slow this thing right on down. So we're looking to put our periapsis, well, nice and low. So we'll just get this slowed down. We could definitely aim to come in at this water. That would be absolutely fine. So that would mean cutting our engines about... now. There we go. So that'll be fine, and we'll just come right on in. We'll just need to, of course, warp until we hit the atmosphere. There we go. And at this point, we are guaranteed to splash down. So that's absolutely fantastic. We'll get reoriented and slow ourselves down. There we go. That'll do. And this goes up here, and these would come down to here. There we go. Staging is now fixed. So let's do our re-entry burn. This is going to be the same re-entry profile, pretty much. We are probably still going to lose these solar panels, would be my guess. Unless we perhaps get the chutes out far earlier. I'm not sure how much aerodynamic stress those can actually take, but I would imagine 100 meter per second air pressure at lower altitude would absolutely be a problem for them. I think they're going to go away no matter what. And that's fine. We don't actually care. I'm surprised they survived this stage, to be honest. But it doesn't last very long. We had a little bit of a plasma sheath build up, but it was very, very minor. Okay, so we're down to, I'm gonna keep around about 100 meters per second like we did previously. So we've got about 100 to go here. And okay, that's fine. I've now activated the drogue chutes. There go the solar panels. So yeah, they were never going to be saved. Not without additional fuel. So the drogues are out, and let's get the main going as well, and we'll just warp our way on down. Same thing as before. Smart ASS can be off at this point. It's irrelevant. The chutes will hold us in the correct orientation. Everything is looking good. So downward we go here. Of course, these chutes will deploy at 2 kilometers and this one at 1 kilometer. And we're at 4 right now, so. There we go, 2 kilometers. And that slows our speed down by roughly half or so. Excellent. And the main chute will be deploying momentarily here. There it goes. Bringing us down to about 7 meters per second. Once again, a completely safe landing speed, even on land. In water, this is a pretty overkill landing speed. Cushioning this is completely irrelevant, but it's still fun, so I'm going to do it. We'll slow ourselves down by another, 2 meters per second. We're 300 meters up right now, so we'll continue to warp down for a moment. 200. 100, exiting warp. And we'll be cushioning now. 4.3. Okay, sure. So we'll recover that. That's another successful splashdown. Not that we're really surprised about that in any meaningful way. So that's absolutely fantastic. We'll get no science from it, but we did get a decent amount of pay from it, I think. I think that contract got us a decent amount of pay, right? What are we at for finances right now? We've got a lot of money. Let's find out. 5.7? Okay. Decent. Oddly, that gave us about 2,000 more. Oh, no, that isn't odd. That's because of the location we splashed down. We were closer to the KSC. Right. That's fine. Okay, what do we got here? I'm going to decline this if I can. Unfortunately, I can't. So this is going to expire. Do we have any Duna contracts here? Moon, this is going to be Minmus. Minmus, splash down at Kerbin. This is coming from... Where is this from? Volcanic rock from where? Is this Eve? Poles, foothills, or midlands? Yeah, from Eve. That's a tall order indeed. I'm not going to do that. That's not going to happen. So this is on Minmus. This is Moon. This is Minmus. This is Kerbin. This is Eve. This is Sun orbit. Detecting 3 new comets. Okay. This is Eve, of course. This is pretty much Moon. Awkward that they want to orbit Eve as well. Okay. And then repair a satellite in orbit of Eve. So that's all doable, but we don't want to do it. So we're going to say no to that right now. So at this point, I want to check in on the status of our first base module. This has been orbiting Kerbin for a really long time because our contracts are just obsessed with not going to Duna at this moment. They want to do everything but go to Duna. I want to check in here. I believe our status on this was that we needed a refuel. Let's see here. Yeah, we needed a refuel. Okay, so how much fuel do we actually need to have this to have? So we could put fuel into this Rockamax Jumbo 64 fuel tank. That is going to throw off our weight if we do that. And we've got all of this fueled up to full right now. So I think we don't fuel up this at all. All we want to do is we want to fuel up these guys. And there's how many of them? 6? Okay, so the nose cones appear to be fully fueled at this time. So those don't need a refuel. Also, there's an antenna here that we should probably extend. There we go. Those don't need a refuel at this time. These do. So that's 810 times 12 for liquid fuel. So that would be times 12, 9,720 liquid fuel. Okay, so let's head back to the Space Center. And let's do a refuel for it. Let's just get that finished. So we're going to want to have this be unmanned, and we're going to want to lift 9,720 units of liquid fuel and oxidizer. The oxidizer number will be larger, but as long as the tank is liquid fuel and oxidizer, and we have 9,720 units, it should be good. So let's head into the VAB here. And that's a lot of fuel. So that's a significant mass. Very, very significant indeed. So let's see how much fuel is in a big orange tank. That is this guy right here, and we can see that that's 2,880. So let's divide this by 2,880, and that tells us that we'll need 3.375 big orange tanks. Okay, I'm going to save this as the tanker ship, like this. And what I want to do right now is I want to put decouplers on this, and we're going to do something like that. Then what we're going to do, this is going to be so much mass, what we're going to do is we're going to put more Jumbo 64s on here, about like that. And then I want to put some hemispherical liquid fuel tanks on here. There we go. And this is basically our payload at this time. So what I want to do now is I want to put a large... Let's see. Do we have the large remote guidance units? No. This is the biggest one we have, and that's okay for now. So we'll have that be there. I want to put on the largest reaction wheel that we have right now, which is this guy. That's perfect. And then we'll put a remote guidance unit here. We're going to want to have some electrical here. So the thing is that this is a disposable craft. So we would have like these would be absolutely fine in theory. So this craft is disposable, and to that end, it's going to be gotten rid of once this is done. So it's going to be a pretty expensive disposable craft. It's already expensive. That's understood. We're going to need a decoupler on here, but before we do that, I want to put in some RCS fuel tanks. So we're going to have, that's going to be a little too big, I think. That's a lot of RCS fuel. That's more RCS fuel than we really need. But that should be fine for now. And we'll put some RCS thruster blocks on here. This is so much mass that I kind of want to do 8 of them. Like that. So that'll be okay. Then we need a TD25 decoupler down there, and we need to figure out how are we going to lift this. Because we got to get this thing into orbit. So I'm thinking right now that liquid fuel might be our best option here in terms of side boosters. So we would do a big orange tank here and then a big orange tank down here. These are big orange tanks, but they're not orange. So that's fine. So then what I'm thinking is we are going to... The question is, what's the weight differential? Because this is so much mass. Here's what I'm thinking. We have these extend like this. And then we lift this with 5 mainsails. This is a lot. This is going to be quite expensive. And that's understood. So we'll see what that looks like in terms of cost. This is a lot of fuel, but it needs to happen occasionally. Now, one thing we could do, actually, is we could fly this over to, like, Minmus. We could not dispose of it. Fly it to Minmus with some sort of a maneuvering tank. And then return it back. That would result in less fuel, and we would need some sort of a stage here, which we need anyway. So that's understood for now. We'll come back to that. That's something I want to think about for a moment. So we need to get mainsails on here to lift this. And the question is, at this point, and I want to move these slightly down. So it'd be something about like this. At this point, what would this look like in terms of lifting capacity? 1.2 is that thrust to weight. That's not phenomenal. That's a really, really low thrust to weight. So we do need to have these be strutted in here, and I want them to be strutted in here, and also up here, like that. So that's all well and good, but this does need some sort of a maneuvering stage. So it's also probably going to need more power than this. We're going to need some fuel lines going like this. And then the idea here is that this would be staged like this. In theory, we would never stage this up here. In theory. One thing I'm thinking about doing is dropping this amount of fuel. So we'll detach this, get rid of this for now, and switch this over to one of these guys here. This did not attach to the attachment point I wanted it to. Oh, this is a Kerbidine. Never mind. We need one of these. We could go up to the Kerbidine size. That is an option. So let's have it be like this, and then we would put in an engine here. This is our maneuvering stage. So this would be a poodle right here. And then we put in a decoupler here. So then we would have a TD25 decoupler, and then we put this back in, and as you can see, this is a little bit short, so we would need this to be extended. But I don't think we can fit in a 32 here. I think a 16 is the way to go. So it would be something kind of like that. Looks like these struts reconnected, but these external fuel ducts did not. That's noted. So at this point, our thrust to weight should be even lower. And yeah, 1.07. Oh, this is very wrong here at this point. So these decouplers, and yeah, that would not happen all at the same time. We would need this to happen up here, and then we would need another decoupler here that would be combined with, like this. Okay, I think this is correct now. Yeah, that seems correct. Okay, so we could try launching this thing. It's 1.21. I don't think this makes it to orbit. This is a low amount of DV here. And we could start, you know, grabbing some of the fuel out of this, but that kind of removes the purpose. So if we need more power, we'll probably SRB it. But I want to see how it flies. We're almost certainly going to revert this. This is not going to go to orbit. This is 1000% a simulated launch. I just want to see how far it gets. I don't think it will get very far. So that's something to note. It's going to be very slow off the pad. Very slow indeed. And once those liquid-fueled side stages fall off, we're going to be in a dire state, I think. So let's go ahead and throttle this on up. If I can hit the Z key instead of the Windows key that I just hit twice for some reason. And we're going to go to surface up, and let's give this a go. This is not going to go well. So off we go. We've got about 100 seconds of burn time. Man, this is slow. We need to carry so much fuel, though. That's the thing. One thing I'm thinking is, what if this module was replaceable? So we could use different modules here to refuel it. And that would have like a docking port down here. That'd be interesting. Which, by the way, we didn't put a docking port on here. I did intend to put a docking port up on the top. We'll do that after this test flight. So what's our current apoapsis? Apoapsis is not even 10 kilometers. We should not start a gravity turn for a while here, to be honest. This is not going to make it. There's no way around it. But I want to see how close it gets. Our thrust to weight is up to 2 now, so that's, you know, kind of cute. We can start going to an orbital prograde. It's probably not going to go all that well, but we'll see. Can start getting some amount of horizontal speed. I see our apoapsis is kind of okay. So eventually we'll want to go to horizontal velocity up. And actually that's not that far away, but we're about to lose those side tanks. Ooh, that was a gross detachment there. And we've got some structural weaknesses up through here. That's not surprising either. And look at that thrust to weight, 0.59. This is where I expected problems to ensue. Although I didn't necessarily anticipate this joint weakness here, I probably should have. I'm just thinking about how we want to handle it. We could simply run struts up the length of this to just solidify right here. But there's also a problem here, and we can solve this by having these struts go from here to here instead of going from here to here. That would solve that issue. So, as you can see, our apoapsis is not particularly high, and we're a long ways away from orbital velocity. This isn't surprising in the slightest. This is exactly what I expected to see. So a couple of things that we can address. First things first, I want to connect not from there to there, but from here to here. And we're not in quad. We should definitely do that. There we go. So that will solve that structural issue. Then we had a structural issue here as well. And to fix that, I'd like to run it like this. I don't know if it'll let us. Yeah, it did. Okay, so that should solve that problem, in theory. Now, of course, we're moving far too slowly. And we do need to have a docking port on here. I believe we were using docking port juniors on our destination. We need to double check that, though. So I'm going to save that, and we're going to open up the fuel production module. So we'll open this, and this is a bit of a monster itself. And I just wanted to check, yeah, that's a Clampatron docking port junior. Okay, so we're going to reopen our tanker craft. And we could theoretically replace these with solid rocket motors. or we could just strap them onto the side. And that's the more Kerbal solution. So we're going to go with that. So we're going to strap on some solid rocket motors out over this way. It's going to be pretty funny. And we're just going to go for some Pollexes. There we go. But we need to move these down, as you can see. That definitely needs to go down a ways. In fact, let's just grab these here and attach them right about there. Then as far as fuel tanks go, I feel like we can actually grab ourselves an additional set of fuel tanks here. This is probably going to be too much mass. Let's find out. So let's put on another fuel tank up here. Okay, those are too big, so they need to be FL size. That's right. That's what we ran into on the fuel production module as well. So that needs to be these guys. And now it's kind of ridiculous. I love it. So just try something like that. Fuel lines running like this. I think we gotta back this off by one, at least. Okay, so something like that, and then of course we need to strut these, so those are gonna be strutted like this, and like this. Okay, so this is getting increasingly ridiculous and increasingly expensive. This is not necessarily a great solution, but it's a funny solution, and I like it. So we've got these SRBs here. We're going to be firing all of this at the same time. That puts us at 1.35. That did not get us much more thrust to weight, and the reason for that, of course, is because of all of this extra fuel mass up here. But it might be okay. We'll give it a try here in a moment. So the rest of our staging should be the same. Let's go ahead and try this. We're going to be moving a decent amount faster, but more importantly, those side stages are going to burn longer. We're still going to have a major thrust to weight issue on our center core only, but if we're going fast enough at that point, it won't matter. We can just continue to slap additional SRB stacks onto this. We've got lots of room for them. We could easily do like 3 per, and this would get increasingly ridiculous and increasingly expensive. Probably not a good way to do it, but it would be a funny way to do it, so I might just do it. Okay, let's see how this goes. Definitely a little bit faster off of the pad, that's for sure. Now the question, of course, is how long until these are burned out? Okay, they're burning out nice and quick. So that's not a concern. These fuel tanks will be dry long before the SRBs will. That's good. That means that we could actually stack more fuel on here if we wanted to. We probably shouldn't because of the thrust to weight issue, but it's definitely an intriguing option. So we're now pulling out of these stages here instead of just pulling out of here. And I'm going to start our gravity turn not now. I'm going to wait until we are at an altitude of 20K because I'm very concerned about separation here. I'm very concerned about separation. So 4, 3, 2, 1. These are very long seconds. 0. Okay. Off go those side tanks. Now I'm going to take us over to orbital probe. And those collided with each other. That's absolutely fine. So, as you can see, we're definitely going quite a lot faster now, and we have quite a lot more burn time. So our overall apoapsis is currently at 60, so to be honest, we want to take this over to horizontal velocity up. This is going to potentially cause us significant detachment issues. So that is absolutely something to note here, but if our overall velocity is good enough, or we're high enough when this detachment happens, then that should not be a problem, in theory. We've got about 15 more seconds here. And our apoapsis is definitely in space, but we're not near orbital velocity yet, and it's going to be a little bit challenging for us to get there. We'll see how it goes. That was dicey. Okay. The clear was okay, but it almost wasn't. So we've definitely solved our stability issues. No problem about that, but look at how far away from orbital velocity we are and how little power this stage has at this point. That's kind of wild. I think the right call at this point, more SRBs. Okay, that's not the most cost-efficient call, but it is the most Kerbal call. It is, however, about time to put a cut in here, so I am going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to get this thing up into orbit. There's no doubt about it. This is going to get to orbit. It's very dumb, but it is going to get to orbit. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Aurelio, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time. Oh, by the way, yes, I'm going to revert this. I haven't done it yet, but this is going to be reverted. This is not complete. Let's just do that right now. There we go. See you all next time.